Hey y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. Thanks for joining me on our YouTube channel, Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. It's September 7th, 2024, and this is our Saturday show and tell and share video for today. Going to show you our flock of meat chickens that's in production. This is our 5th flock of 2024, and they are in production for poultry. Also want to show you a vintage egg basket and let you take a look at that. While we're doing that, tell you about a website where you can find chicken related supplies, and want to tell you about a YouTube channel that I have been watching. The video specifically that I want to refer you to is about gardening, and it's really cool because it talks about gardening on about a 1/4 acre with the potential to produce a year's supply of food for your household. So, if you take a couple of projects like gardening and raising some small livestock and put all that together, you can actually take care of a lot of your food sourcing needs very independently. And if some or part of that isn't practical for you, here at Twin Oaks Family Farm, we always encourage you to heart local ag, which is our way of saying support local agriculture wherever local is for you. We hope that you eat real foods, support your local farmers in your own area, and seek out those farmers, ranchers, and producers where you live for sourcing your own food. So while we are getting started, let's go ahead and take a look at the meat birds, because let's face it, how often do you get to see just over 400 4-day-old chicks in the same place at the same time? So we're going to take a look at the meat bird flock first, catch you up on how they're doing and what we are working on at this stage and this age for them, and then I'll show you those finds and tell you about those things on YouTube and on the internet that I want to share with you for resources. So thanks for joining us, we really appreciate it. So we're taking a look right here at our meat chicks. There's actually 434 of them. These are Cornish rock cross meat chickens, and this is their brooder space. So when we brood chickens, it's basically starting them, trying to give them a good start with their growth, with their immune system, with their organ function, and establishing strong eating patterns where they're going to know where the food is and find the food palatable and go to the food. Also strong watering patterns where they're going to go drink the water and stay hydrated from that. And we also want to make sure that we're giving them protection, that we're giving them warmth, that we're giving them good footing underneath them and dry bedding underneath them, and appropriate lighting intensity. So all of these kinds of things are going into taking care of our meat birds. You can see that they've emptied some of the feed trays, and it's not a coincidence that they've emptied the feed trays in the center of the pen and left those feed trays over there. These birds at this age still want an ambient temperature of about 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So they're really attracted to the targeted warmth under the heat lamps. Did you know that a heat lamp on the surface of the heat lamp bulb is about 600 degrees Fahrenheit? And then there's a lot of heat loss from that as that heat emanates down from the bulb, but that's why we suspend it fairly low like that, because then even though there's heat loss, we're able to keep kind of a targeted warmth in that temperature range that those birds want. And we can see that for the most part, where the birds are using the targeted warmth, they're staying out around kind of a circular edge where that beam is hitting the floor, and that's exactly what we want. Now up here we have strong sunlight streaming in because we have a door open, so they're comfortable where that sunlight is, but that's providing them warmth too, and kind of overriding the targeted warmth that's coming from that heat lamp. We'll actually be closing doors up soon. We have a door open on the east and a door open on the west right now that we'll be closing up. But the reason that those trays in the center are consumed and those trays on the edge are not consumed is because more of this blanket of warmth, where this targeted warmth is from the heat lamps, is covering where these middle feed trays are. So your baby chicks, we have learned and try to tell people about this preference of theirs. They will prioritize warmth over food if they have to choose. And so that's why we put intentionally waters and feeders in that space where they're getting targeted warmth from those heat lamps, because they'll continue to eat well and drink well if those dispensers are located where they also can perceive some warmth. So clearly out there, they're not perceiving the same amount of warmth, and those feeders aren't getting consumed as rapidly. So it is going to be time to feed. What we'll do is take those feeders that are on the edge, set them into the middle so they'll consume that feed, and then we'll fill all these feed trays, and we may go ahead and set them there so it's there if they want it and choose to use it, but then we'll just continue to rotate that feed through so that we're using up what we've put in. Also want to show you, this is important now at this stage of the game. So those feeders were put in the pen about 2 hours after the birds moved in, and we want them to get used to eating out of those trays. They're easy for them to use. So initially we just put the bottom part of a feeder in there. That tray is just the bottom part of a feeder, and now we're going to actually fasten on the top part, and so it makes a flip top lid, and the birds then stick their heads through here. So we can open it up to fill it, and then we close it up and the birds eat through those holes. So what we'll actually do is, you can see we have the 2 rows. So we'll go ahead and put lids on those feeder trays that still have feed in them. We'll put the lids on those, we'll move them into the center, and then the feeders that we put down over there for today, we'll leave without lids on, and we'll let the birds get used to having this new feature on their feeders. And then, like tomorrow, we'll go ahead and put lids on the rest of the trays. So we'll also clean the water trays out. It actually looks like quantity-wise, they're on good shape on water. They've consumed about half the water that was filled the last time we filled feeders. But we'll go ahead and clean trays out. We won't need to add water right now. So now these birds are meat birds. Okay, so these are Cornish rock cross meat chickens, going to be raised for meat production. We're going to take them to a USDA inspected processor at about 41 days of age and have them processed into a custom order of poultry that will be in the freezer and can be used for our supper table. So, and we market it to clients here, but you also can, you can raise your own if you're interested in producing your own poultry and having a way to produce your own source of meat, source of protein. Eggs can come from egg production chickens, but these chickens, Cornish rock cross meat chickens, are specialized for meat production. So these are meat birds. We also have some egg birds here. We're not going to make it over to their building in this video, but this is a really neat find. This is an actual antique vintage egg gathering basket, and so it's really nice because it kind of directs the eggs to sit down in these ridged wells, and the eggs don't clink together. We're not going to get fine cracks as we're gathering them and collecting them because of the way the gathering basket is constructed. So it's really neat. I was trying to look up antique egg gathering baskets to see, what kind of value do they have. I'm going to keep this one, but it was interesting. I was seeing them for like up to $250 if you find egg gathering baskets that are genuine antiques, that are in good shape. You might be onto something of value. And then I was looking up new ones, what would it cost to get a new one and where could we get one? So if you are a chicken keeper and you would be interested in your own new egg gathering basket, I saw ones just like that at the eggcartonstore.com. So I think it was just eggcartonstore.com online, and I think they were about $50. So, kind of a significant investment, but they would hold tons of eggs. I mean, really, honestly, that's even way bigger than we need here at our place. We only have 60 egg production hens, and in a day's time I'm probably not going to get even 60 eggs, we're not going to necessarily get 100% egg production every day. So I would really not need a basket this big. I mean, we'll probably just about half fill it almost. But if you had lots and lots of chickens, it's really nice to have a egg gathering basket that you can fit lots of eggs in. In fact, this really will be a help to us because the egg baskets that I've been gathering in are very small, and I actually picked them up at like a dollar store, and they only hold maybe about 15 eggs at a time. So I do have to use several of those to get through the day's eggs. And then, you know, the way that is constructed is just a very basic basket. So there's no features to prevent the eggs from clinking together like there is in this egg gathering basket that's made specifically for that chore. So if you're an egg production chicken keeper, you may want to check out eggcartonstore.com online. Now, I do want to tell you about a video and a YouTube channel. So I want to share this with you. The video that I saw on YouTube, and this was uploaded probably about 6 months ago, I think, if I remember correctly, and actually had about 77,000 views in that time. And it was called A Quarter Acre Abundance: How to Build a Garden from Scratch to Grow a Year's Worth of Food. So it was really interesting because as I was starting to watch the video, I was thinking, a quarter acre, like dimension wise and square footage wise, what are we talking about when we say a quarter acre? Because, you know, for a lot of us, acreage is somewhat of an abstract measurement. It's hard to picture it in our mind. It's hard to quantify it in our mind. It's not a unit that we work with, you know, on a regular basis, and it's large. So that can be very difficult for us to picture. So I was doing some looking up and some figuring, and so I learned that a quarter acre would be about 104 foot by 104 foot. So conceivably, if you have a large front yard or a large backyard and it lays reasonably well, reasonably flat, but also well drained and gets sun, yeah, you could easily have a quarter acre sized garden and it could produce a bunch of food. But I found that interesting that dimension wise, we're talking about, like, if you squared it off, 104 foot by 104 foot. So a quarter acre comes out to about 10,900 square feet, a little under that. So about 10,900 square feet for a garden. But it was interesting in this video, it is on the channel Morgan Hill Farm, and that channel, I find this really cool. That channel in the About page says that it was started in February of 2023, and that channel has over 10,000 subscribers. So a very popular channel. It is based, as I said, in South Carolina, United States of America. And it was really interesting in that channel's video, the hostess takes us through the garden spaces that they have at their place. And so it's, she described, there's one area that's about 100 foot by 60 foot, and that is holding 52 raised bed garden plots, I guess. So the whole raised bed garden area was about 100 foot by 60 foot. And then she had an in-ground garden as well that was about 70 foot by 60 foot. And she also showed us where there was some vertical gardening and some containers that work for container gardening. So a lot of great ideas about different ways to carry out gardening. And even if you don't have an entire quarter acre, you could use any of those ideas: raised bed, in-ground, vertical, container, suited to however your space is sized and however your space is situated. So you get a lot of great ideas in this video. It's about 17.5 minutes long, maybe about 18 minutes long, and it's really interesting to see the hostess take you through the garden spaces that she has and show you the different ways that they're gardening. And she tells us about how they built these gardens, you know, from scratch, and really gives really great details on how the raised beds are made, how they built up the in-ground garden and dealt with, you know, dealing with the soil that was already there and the vegetation that was already there, and how they started off with that to get a good foundation for their in-ground garden. So really enjoyed the video, and I'm really hoping here at my own place that I can do something more along those lines in the coming year in 2025. So for me personally, the video was really inspiring because we have actually had a very large garden space, not quite a quarter acre or anything, but we've had a very large garden space that in the last handful of years, we have just let it kind of get smaller and smaller and smaller. The amount of that space that we've used to garden and the amount of food that we've produced and preserved in our own home place has just gotten smaller and smaller and smaller and kind of dwindled over the last 4 or 5 years. And we're kind of like recharged, ready to make that happen again for our home place, to grow food, the produce, to preserve it, even if we can't grow it, to go get it from a local producer and preserve it. So for me, this video, A Quarter Acre Abundance, How to Build a Garden from Scratch to Grow a Year's Worth of Food, was really, really inspiring. And incidentally, I subscribed to the channel and going to go back and try to go back to the beginning of it, because it just started last year, February of 2023. So I think I can go back and kind of start at the beginning and watch through a lot of those videos that family and host has on their channel. Really excited to do that. So you might want to check that out, Morgan Hill Farm on YouTube, and I will put a link in the description and in the comments. And so we'll turn, sorry, got a little unsteady with the camera there. So we'll turn the camera around here, give you a last look at the little chicks, the Cornish rock cross meat chicks. If y'all have any questions about meat chickens, feel free to put them in the comments. We'll answer what we can, research what we need to, and we genuinely try to get a reply back to everybody. Thank you, viewers and subscribers, for supporting our channel. We appreciate it. We hope that you'll please continue to interact with the videos. Consider a membership on the channel. You can press the join button under the video and get some information on the membership categories if you would be willing to consider that. But we appreciate all the views, all the subscribes, the watch time, the likes, and the interaction on the comments. So thanks so much for supporting our channel. We also started our channel February of 2023 as a way to show people our meat bird flocks and to encourage people that want to produce their own food, that it is possible, and you can jump in and you can start and you can learn from your experience and you can produce wholesome food for your household. So we encourage you, if that's something that you're interested in, to not talk yourself out of it, not give up on it. Start where you can and start small and learn as you go. That's what we've done with these meat chickens. We appreciate y'all's support here on our channel. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.